to the Doctor's Corner. I'm your host, as always, Dr. Mark Pinsky, and today, part 2, Mr. Andrew DeCaro. I brought Andrew on the show for segment 1 and now for segment 2 because he really is an expert on health and wellness. Andrew really lives his life the way I believe people should live their life. He understands his health, he understands his wellness, he's fully vested, fully read, and you'll hear some of that today and in all the segments we discuss. So today we're going to do gut health. Okay, so it's a subject near and dear to my heart. Andrew hears it all the time.
Yeah, I think gut health is something that is not really often talked about ever, and I think it's really good that we really dive into and expand upon it.
Right. So one of the things we would talk about, right, if your food supply was great.
Nobody's is. Nobody. It can't possibly be.
No. So not just what we take in, but even if we were perfect, the food supply is so bad and the way it's processed is so bad that no matter what we did, I still think you would need to supplement.
Yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely.
And so this is really part of the conversation. In order to really maintain balance, this is what I see every day in the clinic.
Yeah.
Patients who even really do well with their nutritional intake, they still have issues.
Yeah.
So their macronutrients, right? Their total calories, their carbs, their fats, their proteins could be perfect.
Yeah.
But what happens is they're deficient most of the time in micronutrients.
Right.
And so that's that's one big problem.
Yes.
The second big problem is they don't have the appropriate gut flora that we talk about, probiotics, appropriate bacteria, right? So the problem is there's 1,000 different products out there for probiotics.
A lot.
And there's 1,000 different products for what's called gut health. And that really confuses the patients.
We're going to demystify this.
We're going to try to demystify
this.
We're going to do the best we can. One of the other topics, including in gut health, that I always try to explain to patients is there's the term gluten sensitivity, right? So that's on a spectrum. Understand that people at the beginning part of that spectrum may just have irritable bowel syndrome.
Okay, yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
People at the far end of the spectrum have celiac disease.
Okay.
And probably a good percentage of us fall in between, meaning that there are certain foods that create insensitivity. For example, lactose, some of us don't break it down as well as we should or could, and some of us, for example, gluten, pasta, breads, those kinds of things.
And what does this lead to in a patient? Does this lead to digestive issues?
Yes.
Bloating? This leads to stomach discomfort because all the time, I hear people saying, I have digestive issues.
Right.
Digestion's a big problem. So, yeah, you like you said before, your protein, your carbs, and your fats, they aid in body composition, metabolic process, lead metabolics, whatever. But our micronutrients, our antioxidants, and our probiotics is what's really going to have the overall effect on digestion. So yeah, absolutely hit the nail on the head.
So for me, I've talked about micronutrition for a long time.
Okay.
And the problem with micronutrition is, where do you get it? Right?
That's the biggest problem.
That is the biggest problem.
I think right now, in society, it's like the first thing you say is eat organic.
Right.
Okay, which is very difficult to do because nowadays our foods are loaded with very expensive, and our foods are loaded with lots of preservatives. Our foods are loaded with lots of artificial flavors and so forth, and our DNA has not been able to adapt to that. If we look at the autopsies of our ancestors, say not 200,000 years ago, they all lived very long lives. Atherosclerotic disease heart disease was nearly non-existent. And why? Everything they were eating was mainly organic. They were getting the right amount of micronutrients.
Right.
Now, you fast forward 200,000 years later, put that in our bodies. Our bodies haven't adapted to that. So the bodies are like, there's so much oxidative stress going on. Take it away.
So micronutrients, again, if you had a reliable source for micronutrients, you could fill in the gaps. Right? This is all about filling in nutritional gaps.
Yeah.
And I've said this a million. You've heard me say this. I say it on the air a lot. But you got to consider life like legs on a chair. Right?
Okay.
If you don't have all 4 legs of a chair, you're going to fall. Right? So I include in those legs of a chair, your physical activity.
Yes.
Your macronutrients, your micronutrients. I throw in my spirituality because I
Okay.
think that's super important.
No,
in the
absolutely.
life.
That's mindfulness. That's mind embodied. So
Right? And I throw in your hydration,
Yeah.
and I throw in your sleep.
Right.
Okay? I think all those components really need to function as a unit.
They do.
If they don't, you will not be successful in your journey. You'll
Right.
really struggle. And I think when I see people in the clinic, that's what I see.
Mm-hmm.
And the problem is not their fault. It's the communication out
Yeah.
there, right?
Yeah.
Google weight loss.
Yeah.
Google it.
Yeah.
You'll get 100 million hits.
Again, like I said before, the misinformation
Yeah.
it spawns and breeds faster than you or I could kill.
Yeah. So
Okay.
micronutrition, good source of micronutrition is we've utilized a company called ID Life.
Yes.
ID Life has a vitamin supplementation product that we absolutely love. Why do we love it? We love it because it's a personalized approach to nutrition. How does that happen? You fill out a HIPAA-compliant health assessment.
Yeah, correct.
That HIPAA-compliant health assessment, basically HIPAA meaning they cannot sell it, they cannot do anything with it, but they ask you very specific questions.
Yes.
They use 6,400 algorithms with 2 million combination possibilities. And in that approach, they support all that with scientific evidence from over 10,000 peer-reviewed journals. Nobody else does that.
Yeah, that is absolutely remarkable in a dietary supplement because nowhere else, like you said, nowhere else does that. But I can't stress enough how important it is to have an individualized approach because we all have different parents, and we all have different comorbidities that we're just genetically exposed to. So we all our supplement intake, our regimen, the legs on the chair have to be individually catered toward each one of us. Right. And so that is really what is the important part about aspect of ID Life nutrition. Right. So, yeah.
And so in the ID Life Nutrition, you didn't know where I was going, but where I'm going is with ID Life Nutrition or with ID Nutrition, one of the important things, they have considered gut health. They have put that into their supplementation.
Yeah.
And I love that. Number one, their probiotic is absolutely fantastic. Now, before I became involved with ID Life over 4 years ago, I had terrible irritable bowel. I mean, terrible.
Okay.
And I ate well. I ate very, very well. But again, you have to put the macros with the micros and fill in all the gaps.
Yeah, macros and they work harmoniously with one another.
So by the same token, if you just do ID Nutrition and you don't do anything else, you're probably not going to have the success you really want to have.
Right. It's an entire lifestyle. If you just take ID Life and you go out and eat fast food 3 times a day, then it's probably going to be a futile attempt.
It is a futile attempt. So that's what I try to tell people. No matter what you do, you have to change your life.
Yeah.
Right? So the ID Nutrition components, not just the probiotics, but they include spirulina and chlorella, blue-green algae,
right,
superfood,
yes,
right?
antioxidant properties.
Right, antioxidants.
Yeah.
And today, what are we looking for? Immune function, right? Everybody's talking about doesn't want to get sick. So it has all of these amazing properties in it. The list of things that potentially could be in, depending upon what you fill out and how you answer the questions, will determine what the vitamin packs look like.
Yeah, and this is where it's important. We talk about immune function. Nowadays, we have a lot of airborne viral illnesses, COVID, going around, constantly, respawning and so forth. And this is really the protection that is going to be keeping our bodies optimal. So when that infection comes, our body knows what to do with it. So and now we talk about it being effective antioxidants. Well, we hear that word all the time. Okay, what is an antioxidant? Well, a lot of our degradation of the cell process is due to something called oxidative stress. Now, to keep this simple, if you take a car that's aged, okay, you start to see a lot of rust. That's through oxidation, okay? Now, imagine that same process going on in the cells of our body. That makes our cells more vulnerable to disease like cancer and so forth. So by having antioxidants, we can really protect ourselves at a cellular level from these illnesses that ultimately can harm us.
Exactly.
So that's why what he's talking about is extremely important with gut health and what we can do with our micronutrients.
Right. So again, ID Nutrition is one of those really great products because they've spent a lot of time trying to figure it out and how to customize it. Matter of fact, it took them 18 years to come up with that health assessment. They've spent a lot of time, a lot of money. They've invested a lot in our own personal health, and I tell you, I do it all the time. It is my source for micronutrition. And again, if it's something you're interested in, you can either contact Andrew or myself, but we can always answer whatever questions that remain in between there. I think we'll probably do a separate segment on I Need Nutrition because that could take. That would be a long time. It'd be a pretty long time. That's a whole other subject. Let's shift gears. Okay. With the Detox box, right?
Yes, the Detox box. That's what. This is where I'm going to turn it over to you, Villa, because now the Detox. All I keep hearing about is people ask me about the Detox box. Now I wanted to wait for I had you here. Now people think a Detox box. They think of it as a cleanse. They think they're trying to rid their body of something foreign. You know, what does the patient look like who's using, or the person look like who's using the Detox box? How does it differ from a cleanse? Take it away.
That was great.
Yeah.
You can have the show. Yeah. Hey, so a cleanse basically only focuses on the gut, right?
Right.
And so when you're going to cleanse, you literally just clean it out.
Okay.
But you're not focusing on the two other major areas that need to be addressed to really detoxify. The liver is the number one detoxification center in the human body.
Right.
A cleanse doesn't address that.
Right.
And a cleanse doesn't address the kidney, the other area which needs to detoxify. Okay, so the Detox box was created to address all three of those major systems.
Right.
Okay, and what they did was they tried to make it simple. They did not want to make it so that people were going to be in the bathroom all day. They wanted to make it so that your body would wean in, and it's done in phases. So there's 3 separate phases. You know, I've just completed. I'm actually in the middle of phase 1. So I can kind of tell you how we feel right now. I've got a whole detox group doing it.
Yeah, I see that.
And it's really cool because everybody's experience is different. And I think that's what sort of a little bit what you started to talk about. Everybody's in a different space.
Right.
You know, you're going to react differently than I will. Then Jeremy will. Trust me, then Jeremy will. But the bottom line is it will work no matter what your scenario is. Now, before you decide you're going to do something like this, though, you really do have to clear it with your doctor. Because, for example, if you have elevated liver function tests, if your kidneys are an issue, you should not undergo anything like this unless you really know that your functions are normal.
Right.
Okay, so I do want to emphasize that to people out there. It's not something that if you're sick, you should be doing. You need to make sure that you understand that.
Yeah, this is not a substitute for, you know, this isn't medical advice. It's not a substitute for, if there's a pathology present, then we got to address that.
You have to address that issue. And I have had several patients who wanted to do the Detox box that, I did not advise them to do it. I said, it's not really a good idea for you. You're not in that place to be able to do
Probably
that.
somebody with elevated LFTs or kidney disease, something like that. That's what I think.
So the bottom line is, and there's some people who just are not well. Right, I don't know that their body would be able to handle that kind of a scenario. So for example, phase 1 focuses heavily on kidney, does a little bit of gut. Days 1 through 3 are really gut, kidney. Days 4 through 7, you now start to incorporate a little bit of liver, right? But what makes it so successful in between is the fact that you use psyllium husk. Right? So psyllium husk, what does it serve as? So you got to know. It's like scrub brush. Literally goes into the colon, into the small intestine. So it's getting things ready. So people don't often know or feel it or have bowel issues. Like, for example, for myself, day 3, that's when they talk about things happening. Now, what's great for me is normal bowels, but going more often. Like totally
and this is
normal.
where my knowledge ends and his begins. So I'm learning with y'all right here.
So totally normal.
Right.
So, which is amazing because that's not always the case with me. I'm not that guy that's constantly regular. So this has really been a good thing for me. From a urination standpoint, I'm drinking 114, 120 ounces of water a day. But now my body has acclimated to that because the detox itself has changed some of my kidney functioning, per se. So I'm now noticing changes. What did I notice the first week? I'll tell you right now.
Go ahead.
More energy.
Okay.
More energy, and I'm a high energy guy.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
But this is like really crazy over the top for me.
Yeah.
And again, starting to regulate my bowels.
Okay.
Right. So what happens is as we progress through this, like even week 2, right? It changes a little bit for phase 2. Phase 2 goes days 8 to 23.
Okay.
Right. And that functions a lot on gut. And what do they start to include there? They do black cumin. Black cumin seed actually is one of those things that it's also an antioxidant.
Yeah.
Okay, big time antioxidant. Okay. But what's it doing? It's going to rid your body of fungi and going to rid your body of yeast.
Oh.
So weeks 2 and 3 is when people start to notice like, I may feel a little different now. Not in a bad way, but now your body is starting to really detoxify. So it goes a little bit from more urine to a little bit more bowels.
Okay.
Right? So I'll be able to let you know in a week or two how that really shook down.
Yeah.
But nobody's, over 1,000 people have done the detox box already. Nobody has said, oh my God, I can't do that. The biggest issue is headache. Why? You're detoxifying.
Yeah.
So you have to drink fluid.
Drink a lot of fluid.
A lot of fluid to clean it out.
Yeah.
And so we've been emphasizing that over.
I think the best analogy to give our viewers, it's like an oil change.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
It is like an oil change.
Yeah. It's like an oil change that, like we do every 3,000, 5,000 miles, whatever we do an oil change in our car. This is the same thing, but for your health.
And I agree. So one of the great things is I still stay in my ID nutrition. Why? Okay, because as I'm detoxifying and cleaning out, I want to put good stuff in.
Right.
And so one of the things that we talk about besides doing that, you still need to really work on your macros, right?
Yes.
You still need to focus on your good overall nutritional intake.
Yeah, that doesn't stop.
That's
all the time.
Right. So everybody says to me, well, do I have to stop eating? No.
No, absolutely not. No.
We want you to eat. We are humans. We like to eat.
Yeah, we like to eat.
So one of the things you might want to change, though, is change some of your habits, right?
Yeah.
So we try to get you to limit your alcohol intake, try to limit your carbohydrate intake, try to limit your sugar intake.
When you say limit alcohol intake, because, we have people... like they say red wine. One glass of red wine is good for the cardiovascular system. Right. Would somebody have to stop doing that?
No.
Okay.
The thing that they can't do is this glass.
Yeah, exactly. This glass.
Not a flask.
Yeah.
A glass.
Yeah.
Right. So again, if you're drinking a little bit, like a glass of wine a day, I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
But I just don't want people indulging because then you run into problems where you're defeating the whole purpose of doing that.
And the end result, what could somebody expect from the detox?
Well, I'll tell you, the results have been really impressive. So I will give you the across the board.
Go ahead.
Some people said, listen, I just have a better sense of well-being. I just feel better. I have more energy. I'm sleeping better. That's a huge thing.
Huge one, yeah.
So I will tell you this week, I didn't mention that, but this week I have crashed. So I have all this high energy, but when I'm laying down, I'm out.
You're out
And I'm really only getting up because I got to go to the bathroom. But other than that, I'm not getting
the
up.
amount of people that don't get enough sleep is probably is
huge. That's another whole show.
That's another whole show. Yeah.
So for me, that's what I noticed. But what else you notice? Yes, there are people who are losing 6 to 20 pounds. And so here's what I've done. I've tried to get as many people, including myself, to do an in-body analysis, right? So my in-body analysis does my skeletal muscle mass, my body fat percentage, my fat mass, and I want to see what happens at the end. And I'll report it. If there's no change, there's no change. But I'm curious to see because patients have lost weight, patients claim to lose inches, patients are claiming to get healthier.
I would be curious to see that too.
I know.
Because now we're getting a little evidence-based. That would be be interesting to see.
And so I'm asking patients to do their own logs and to keep their own journals. And some of them just don't have the ability to do, obviously, the in-body analysis, but they certainly could do their weight and they certainly could do their measurements.
Everything we talk about, it all works. The detox box, hydrate, it all works harmoniously with one another. They all work in congruency.
Right.
So that's what I love the most about
this line. The beautiful part about the detox box, all natural. There is nothing in here that's artificial.
No aspartame, no saccharin.
No, none of that stuff.
No.
Everything is always made with stevia
Yeah.
and ID Life products. And one of the things I didn't mention, even the capsule, right? The capsule is made from animal-based products, usually bovine, no plastic.
That is really good to know.
There's no plastic. So the company has really done it.
Can't get any more natural than this. I mean, yeah.
So from my perspective, the Detox Box, if you want to learn more about the Detox Box, I would suggest you go to idlifedetoxbox.com, idlifedetoxbox.com. We'll put it on the screen so you could look into it. Anything else? Did I miss something?
I think we hit all the key points.
Jeremy, did I miss anything? Jeremy says no. So if the executive producer says no, we are good to go.
Good to go.
For
Thank you.
Andrew DeCaro, I am Dr. Mark Pinsky. You have been watching The Doctor's Corner. Take care. This is Dr. Mark Pinsky once again, asking you to forward questions to us, whether regarding this episode or any of our past episodes, at drmarkscorner@gmail.com. Also, don't forget to check us out on our website, pinskywellness.com or pinskyweightloss.com. We look forward to hearing all of your questions, and we'll get back to you as soon as we do. Y'all have a great week.